on that mainstream. Have a look at the odds over here for the APEKS side on our good partners over at loot.bet. 1.64 in comparison to a 2.17 up for the Fate side. If you do want to get involved in those odds, you can check out our fantastic betting partners. All the information is underneath the Twitch channel in the Twitch banners. 10 free CSGO spins and up to 100 euros bonus on your deposit. Jay, jumping into the pistol round, it's going to be APEKS starting up on that T side and Fate starting up on CT.
Out to the mid-control for the passive positions on the APEKS side. Down towards the lower tunnels goes Marcelius. Just challenging very carefully and closely, hunting for the opening kill. And slow facing towards it is what I try and find it and everything. It's not quite the active control and active sort of opening frag. The flashbang's unable to short control to come through. They're going to push forward. Marcelius will be the first casualty. They lean towards the longhouse. Mars going to see them coming out here, but does get dealt with by Cross.
A lot of information, and APEKS just need to commit pretty quickly to the long position now. All the info is given up. Blocker's going to be able to get a couple of nice shots, and now the rotations are coming in. APEKS are just halted out from long. There's not really much they can do now. No utility for them to work with. It's all down to Truth and APEKS just to try and get something rolling, and even just try and see if they can get a bomb plant, Jay.
Crosses are locked. The CTs are not moving for the moment. Taps up. Truth does catch one in the end. Blocker does face out wide and get taken out for his trouble. Nicky still held here with the USP. Hahn takes him. Takes down Truth instead. Ash is the man to get Nicky. P250 is standing alone though. And unfortunately the crossfire is too much to handle. Fate will open things up with a pistol on the board. An opening round for the CT side.
Oh, that was really nice there from Fate, and it all comes off the basis of information being found not only at the position out from long, but over the map. We saw the flashbang coming out from the short position, the swing comes out, Fate get the opening man advantage, they clear out lower tunnels, they clear out mid, so they go, right, we need to take a bit of a contact out from long. We see Mar going down, and as soon as that happens, information straight away. He's seen 3 or 4 players out towards that longhouse. They can start to bring the rotations in and just capitalize on all of that information, all of that presence out to that long position. And no bomb plant couldn't cross onto the site, meaning no force buy attempt is going to come out from the APEKS side. That's pretty much just Glocks and a couple of upgraded P250s.
Scoping from the scout of Hahn for the moment. No opening frags or damage being found, no opening shots that can really go towards his favour. Blocker instead lines him up coming out of the longhouse position. 2 nice and easy kills. Marcelius can capitalise on the damage that his teammates have done, get a frag back, but now it's back up and the alert player over towards the B site falls. Truth is going to be the last man left alive and a 1-on-4. Harden will take him down with the USP, an easier kill to deal with the eco round of APEKS. No bomb plants in either round. We'll see no major buy come through. We'll see the AK has come out regardless though. It will be limited in a couple of aspects though.
Nice little spray there coming out from Blocker, but it was really hard towards the back of the site that was doing most of the damage with the scout. Nice easy cleanup coming out from the Fate side, not giving APEKS up too much. A buy round coming in. Fate pretty much staying with everything they've got, not upgrading anything. Trying to contest out towards long, take some early contact from the CT side. Marcelius! Oh, it seemed like his teammate was blind there, but Blocker's able to get a couple of kills. That's a great opening to come out from the CTs.
Yeah, Flash kept his vision limited. He still gets away with 2. Hahn is traded back by Dennis, but he's on 12 HP of his own right, so the CTs have gained all sorts of manners of control. Not much contest coming in from APEKS, despite their ability to trade it. They are significantly on the back foot. They have found a line into the A site, though. Looking up from short, Truth is going to slow walk in. I think he gets a read on the fact that they're held towards long, so this can be an easy information play and some gain up against the CT forces. He'll look for Mar. Flashbang in against him. Does that catch him blind? No, he's ducked down below the boxes. Mar has no idea this player's on site. Frag found. Looking towards Pit. Sees the last man of the A-side defense. They can secure a bomb plant here. This can actually be an opportunity for APEKS.
It really can do. Plant for short or even plant for long. Okay, that is actually a really open plant to come out from the APEKS side. They've got short control too, so they know the only information of where these CTs can be coming from is CT spawn or long.
Burst through, Truth gets himself 2 frags for 3k overall, and Blocker is left alone. 1-on-3 with the AK, held back towards the long control. And yeah, he's going to escape through house, probably save this weapon for the next round, because Fate obviously in the early game do not have a lot of money to work with. This will be a start for APEKS as they lose the pistol conversion, but chime back in with a rifle round.
I tell you what, Jay, that's actually an exceptional sort of comeback in that round there from Truth, realizing the fact, hang on a minute, I'm actually walking up short and I haven't heard any utility, haven't seen anyone. And we see there from Ma, he gets flashed in from Nicky out from long because Fate realized, hang on a minute, we haven't actually checked short in quite some time. So there is an opportunity that we need to go back just to have a check, but they obviously don't realize that Truth has already swung out into the side. He ends up getting 3 kills, a massive round coming out from Truth. And for Fate, they're probably disappointed with that, Jay, because they were in a really great position in the early round.
And first to the ball of APEKS, returning back to the rifles for Fate. Very quick and heavy, forced by back in the next round to try and shut them down. Try and stop the momentum from swinging to the favor of the T side. That's why APEKS can get dangerous here. Fate need a round. If they don't, then they will start to lose the lead and probably lose control of the rest of the CT side. For now, it is just defensive held out standard. A bit of a lean towards the A side, but only 2 players there to defend it from the long positions. 2 more from the CT spawn and mid control. Smokes down from the short players are going to try and draw their attention towards that short area, but the bomb is still coming in out towards the longhouse.
Blocker, oh, he gets caught in rotation. Looked like he wanted to try and help out hard, but with the scout not hitting onto the first and can't connect onto that second shot, that A bomb site's completely opened up. This should be an instant save from the CT side.
It's Molotovs and smokes down to ensure that anyone who's trying to lock out that gap in the smoke will be unable to do much with it. Patrick will get Dennis over-aggressing towards that short control, but now, yeah, as you mentioned, Fate are going to fall back and save their weapons. There's no money in the bank, so there's got to be some sort of basis to work with, and the only way they get that is with the rifles here and now. So 2 to the board of APEKS. A fantastic start now on the T side. And a hell of a way in, looking real confident as well, like losing only a couple of frags back on the trades.
And I'll tell you what, I actually really like that play from APEKS is that sometimes in CSJ, it just comes down to the little things. And we see that the utility being drawn over towards that short position from the 2 lurkers from APEKS actually pulls Blocker to start to rotate out from pit. Now, if he would have held that position, he probably at least finds 1 kill, can fall back defensively and allow Hahn to swing on contact with that scout. But because Blocker's already in transition of trying to move to assist at the A bomb site or try and assist Hahn, he's caught into the open. There's no way that he can fall back. He takes a really awkward duel, and from there, as soon as Hahn loses that frag, it's done. It's a 5-on-3. The round is over, and Fate just need to recover onto 3 M4s, bring it into the next round. Moneyline's not looking fantastic. Probably won't force the issue here. Just see if they can USP it onto Blocker and Hahn. APEKS in a really good shout now, Jay, to be able to take a lead in the early stages of Dust 2.
The AK pressing forward towards the short control. Patrick's there, spray through, gets that frag, nice and easy. 12 points of health for him though. Man falls to low amounts of health for the moment, but no major kills going the way of APEKS. Fate has started things off on the right foot with their lack of weapon advantage. It does mean that they're going to have to continue to play passive off the back of this opening frag. But it has forced APEKS to think a bit more carefully before taking his face in towards the mid-control. Marcelius will still go with the flashbang in, but even as he peeks in, sees nothing, he doesn't extend around towards CT. He waits back at Xbox and hopes that Nicky starts facing here.
I'll tell you what, it's a really heavy stack out towards the B bomb site, really. There's nothing out towards A, but the CTs are now starting to press the upper tunnels. That's going to give them the information that it is no B site presence. You've already got players out towards long, a Fate coming out from mid to B, but this is going to be a split into the A bomb site, and Fate have got so much info.
Oh, Dennis not ready for Mars peek up. The smoke comes in from Marcelius. Nice nade, might do some damage, and indeed Blocker gets douched down to 40 HP. 5-on-3 again, though. It is favor to the CD side. Bomb plant will need to come through in a moment's time here. The nade's on towards the spawn area. Marcellus gets out of short as the mass amount of CT forces start moving in. 1 player from CT, that's Harden with the USP, ready to start making his way in with a split. Flashes over Marcellus, facing away. AK is going to try and hold something here. Akers gets a kill, but Blocker gets 2. Marcellus and Akers trying to lift the trade, but as now it's all left to the 1 player with the T side line. He can only do so much as Blocker gets 3 kills and Fate do return to a 3rd.
That's a huge round coming out from Fate, and that's really poor there from APEKS. It felt like a lot of those duels, at least in the early rounds, were very individual. We just saw a flying player up through short getting instantly taken out. Yeah, the CTs don't recover that rifle, but they get a 5-on-4. They start to stack it up through mid and over a B. They press the upper tunnels. They get so much information. The rotations start to come through. At Blockers fragging incredibly well. 9 kills and just 3 deaths. He's been a star for Fate in the last 5 rounds.
Well, a small technical pause coming through here. A moment's respite. Not sure who the technical has been called by, what the nature of that technical pause is, but it is still a moment to think about things here for these two squads, especially in the case of APEKS, who have now been denied their chance to take the easy control. Unable to take the lead above Fate, despite all the momentum shift being in their favour.
And we actually saw, Jay, APEKS against Forza last week. It was only a few days ago in the quarterfinals of Malta Vibes, where it was actually Forza's map pick of Dust 2. And we saw a 16-7 result to come out from APEKS. They looked really, really strong, incredibly well on the T side after they lost their opening map of Nuke. So we have certainly seen, at least in very recent history, they can put up a really good fight on Dust 2. And it's been a bit even so far. We've got a very close scoreline, only 5 rounds deep, but we'll have to wait a little bit further until we sort of really start to see these gun rounds coming up and we start to see who takes control. I'm keen to see Han on the AWP. I think this is the first time we've seen it from MJ. He's been on the scout for the most part. And obviously Marcelios on that T side from APEKS. No stranger to the AWP as well.
Expecting that to come through at some point here. For APEKS, it's not an opportunity to discuss the nature of the buy for obvious reasons, but can have a think about, whether they, whether Marcelius individually can think about whether he wants to go for this one. I imagine he would, though, given the money state. They're over $7,000, so the AWP can be afforded with Kevlar and utility as well. Makes a lot of sense at the moment if they wanted to go for this.
Yeah, Fate sometimes run the double AWP onto either Block or Patrick. It's normally Patrick, I believe, that picks up that secondary AWP over at the B bomb site. And normally you get Harm playing around that car position out towards long. Certainly is a money line for them to go for it if they want. And for Fate, I suppose this week really is all about them just not changing it up, but being able to get a different result. Getting into playoffs has probably got to be their main objective. I know we've seen Solo, their new coach on Twitter, sort of talking about, they realize some of the mistakes they've been making and they're trying to work on how to fix it. I think their expectation going into week 10 is just get out of groups. I mean, it is a very, very tough group. There's no doubt that you would probably rate Fate as maybe like that 3rd or 4th best team in this group. So it's certainly going to be a challenge for them, but that's got to be their expectations going into this week.
Yeah, and especially considering this is the last week as well. Like, I'm not even sure how much of an expectation it would be to them to make it out of groups, because it's not like it's one of those things that's like, oh, hey, like we can try again next week, because there is no next week in this one,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I don't know whether Fate were expecting to go all the way in this one. I mean, they've only been able to get to the grand finals once in Malta Vibes so far, so it's definitely one of those things to think about if you're going to be, riding the idea of Fate just making it out of group stage. I mean, there's going to be no further opportunities to make it further than the first place position in Malta Vibes. A couple of things to think about here. Again, I wonder if Fate are even considering that idea, whether they really are just thinking, hey, if we can get some group performances and just try to make it into top 8 again.
Yeah.
Try and go that far to show that we're not, that we are worthy of something, because, like, obviously for them, with their performance lacking in other tournaments in Tier 2, like, you got to question whether or not Fate are in a bit of a slump at the moment.
Yeah, it's funny. I was reading an article from the Singularity guys when Tobiz stepped down a couple of days ago, and one of the organization members were like, this isn't good enough. And it made me think, do you know how many other Tier 2 teams are in that same boat? That are putting up results which on paper shouldn't happen. They should be a lot stronger. And you've got to think, not only from a player perspective is it frustrating, but obviously from an organization's perspective too. You've signed these players, they're getting contracted, it's taken money out of your wallet. And if results aren't coming, there's some serious thought that needs to be made. So look, for Fate, they've not only got to prove themselves, but they've also got to prove their results to their organization. And this is probably at least like the last chance, considering it is the last week of Malta Vibes.
And the technical pause is over, so we can stop mulling over the intricacies and start getting back into the meat of things. The action is about to resume with the AWP indeed coming through from Marcelius here. And trying to fire down that mid control, looking towards the mid doors. He may have seen one cross before the smoke bloomed, but that's not going to mean much in the grand scale of things. No shots, no damage, no kills going the way of APEKS.
Not really too much control coming out in the early round. APEKS are one of those teams on Dust 2 that don't normally like to challenge the longhouse very often. They're a team that sometimes, if they want to go long, they'll try and take it a little bit later into the round and have these sort of slow, methodical T-side defaults rather than just taking the brunt of damage and being very aggressive. In towards short, there's been a few opportunities for Fate where they haven't really had too many players towards the short position, allowing a lot of map control to come out around this area.
A minute to the clock, and APEKS are being much more careful about their defaults. They have once again pushed right the way up towards top or bottom of mid. Got short control, smokes down towards that CT spawn area. Got one player lurking out towards the tunnels position, hoping to catch one at the tunnels entrance. No one's going to show themselves for Fate though. These common positions coming in for the A execution. AWP of Han is ready to cut them off from the long control. I think you might be right about that. Groster's drop in, take out Mar, and they continue to work in towards the A side. Marcelius gets Nicky. Now suddenly it's only Patrick left alone here. Seeing where the bomb partner is, no, Marcelius gets that AWP pick in, doubling up of his own right. 2 for 5. And APEKS, oh, they have full control of this one. Fate have no choice but to save.
And even Gross is trying to see if he can find some extra kills. Oh, they're not ready for him, but so is not the spray. At least is able to take down Blocker. Han with the NWP missing that shot, following up, is able to connect, but he needs to try and stay alive, and it's not going to happen. A third on the board for the APEKS side. And we've certainly seen in the last couple of months, Jade, teams being very creative on how they want to fake out A and try and get into that mid to B, into the split over towards that B bomb side. There was only a single player up through short. They all went down in through that mid position. 2 players went up through the tunnels. They got some really great picks, isolated the single anchor on that B bomb side, and Fate, it seemed like they were just so out of play there.
Yeah, the CTs quickly responded to by APEKS as they try and look for their way back into this matchup here.
Wow, look at this force buy.
Yeah. Fate are going to be in a real rough position. The AWP of Nicky is still going to be in here, so something they can work with. Glass Cannon AWP though. The M4 of Han. We've got to try and do some damage alongside him. I'll spread apart here. One playing passive in CT and one more active in towards the short control. So the one kill comes in towards top mid. The reality is going to be the push coming in towards the B site. And Grush sees Patrick Gun Barrel, takes him out. Rotations are going to come through via the lower tunnels, not through the mid control. Taps up from the M4 of Han. Will try to do some damage as they cross past the B doors, but nothing will realistically in massive amounts be done here. The bomb point will be secured 4-on-4. Fate here on a force buy. If they lose their weapons, they've actually got an AK recover for this one, so it may be a safe call. And in fact, there's Nicky stuff to back up. It looks like it will indeed be. So extra rifle to work with into the next round. A little something gained here by Fate, even though they did a heavy investment into this round. I mean, obviously they're not going to get away with the round victory itself, but a small consolation prize. In this early into the game, it can still be an acceptable pickup, I think.
Yeah, it's decent. A little bit surprised there with the force, but the fact of the matter is Nicky and Han had money and no one really else did, so they go for the force investment. They do a bit of damage. They at least try and limit the economy from the T side. Only taking down 1 kill isn't going to help them massively, but obviously holding on to that AK is going to help them out. Thing is, though, you've got both the AK and the AWP without armor. Obviously, with armor, Jay, open up some cases because, you know, put the armor on yourself. Malta V and Malta V 15, open up some sick cases and get some sick skins because everyone wants skins, right? A fantastic case partner only at hellcase.com. Check him out. You can get all the information in the Twitch banners below. And for APEKS, it seems like they're going for a little bit more of a quicker approach this time around.
Patrick set with the Deagle. Molotov's in. Facing away from position, faces up, sees Akez, can't take him down, instead the AK kill comes through. Still jump face looking for Patrick. Next up, Truth gets blocker. AWP of Nikki getting tagged up heavily. And then 8 onto position. Well, Akez will get the AK in, take him down regardless. Meanwhile, the bomb starts committing out the B bomb site. Han, last man left, could take out a couple of kills, but not a lot of damage done on the ground scale of things. The AWP stays in play for the T side as the rebuy comes in from Fate. APEKS have managed to maintain their lead, extended to 2 at 5-3.
And now starting to get a bit of a grasp on the situation. Fate need to be able to find an answer back in. And look, the buy is not looking great. They had certainly a potential of like half buying here and getting rifles up into next, getting that AWP on the back of Han. But instead, they're going for the Force. It means that there's no kits, very light utility from the CT side. And you've got to think, Jay, this is a really vital round. Otherwise, we're probably looking at like a 7-3 scoreline for APEKS.
Molotov's down into the mid-control for APEKS for the moment. It's Han blind that actually gets Akez here. Not sure how he spotted or how he predicted it. Maybe it was a lucky spray, but either way, that's an opening pick for the CT side. One that they desperately need as well. APEKS have forced the issue several times. We've got map control to work with. Can just make the fast execution out from the short position in towards the A site. Han is ready to receive it. Seeing Molotovs come through, blind firing. I hopefully land some bullets, but no shots connect. No damage has been done. The T's can just walk in towards A site, get a bomb plot from here. Drop in from Gross may be a bit awkward, but he evades the bullets and the spray coming in from the M4.
Retake setup coming out for the CTs. The pit player has been seen. Gross is trying to find an angle, but he's so exposed out to the open. The bomb plan's going to come through, but it's a 3-on-5. Fate, they have got all the cards in their favor to retake this bomb site.
Limited utility sets though. Flashbangs across the boards. Marcelius gets Han down first. Flashbangs start moving up towards site. 4 players total coming in. One a little bit late towards the short control. Truth will take him back. 3 players standing for either side. Nikki finally holds man advantage for the CT cannon. Look at how low HP they are. Nikki still comes up with a second kill and finishes off Marcelius. All in all, the defuse comes out. Fates are going to be able to secure their 4th, I think. Close on the kit.
Oh my goodness.
Just in time. Milliseconds away.
Wow, that was actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. If APEKS were just able to hold on to it a little bit longer there, then with no kit, they would have been able to win out that round. We saw 2 players out of the 3 retaking in the end there that survived were incredibly low. APEKS not holding off on the postpartum. Good retake coming out from Fate. Was certainly down to the wire. And now they're obviously able to bring in that AWP. Han out towards long, looking for an opening kill. Flashbang coming out. No one peeking just yet. And gets baited out with the AWP shot. Oh, what?
Consistent flashes. He peeks past that smoke, and Akez spraying through, managing to take him down. The utility does get thrown now, but it doesn't do much here as they quickly clear the Molotov, wait for the bomb to rotate back via the house position. They've got loads of time as well to make their way up towards A site. Akez tempting face against Blocker. Does not take the man down, does not try and hold that challenge just yet. The smokes instead go back towards the cross positions and they make their way in towards the bomb site. Blind sprays from Blocker only going to do so much. Grass will catch off 2 players on the rotate and the lurk play back towards tunnels. Margaret and nade on Akez, takes him down. Nade back towards Truth's position, tags him a little bit more as well. Grass on a backstab dealt with by Blocker. So 4-on-3 situation. APEKS have the site, but they do not have the man advantage.
Unfortunately for Grass, he was the lurk in that round, but just felt really awkward. There was no real position that he was able to play that was safe. A 3-on-3, another retake to come in from the Fate side. This time around, though, there is a kit and there is utility for them to work with. Booster come up over the smoke of Ma. Is he going to be able to see anything? Or we might get a bit of information on the ramp players.
Dennis with a headshot, 3-on-2. Patrick moves up to turn to 2-on-2. 2 on towards left and right hand facing the cross position. Marcelius peeks in with the AWP. And Dennis goes back towards short for his 3K and for the 6th here for the APEKS side.
And one thing we've realized from Fate, Jay, outside of the pistol and the anti-eco conversion, they have not been able to follow up rounds. It's been a lot of retake scenarios for this Fate side. We've seen some decent attempts from them, but when you're not following up rounds, you're just continuously destroying your economy, because when you win one, you go, right, I've got money. And then as soon as you lose the following round, you are instantly reset again. This is a really awkward stage for Fate to be in, especially on that CT side, Jay, where really that's their best side.
Krieg set for Gross. Tapping his way in against the Eco stack into the B-bomb, so they're going to split their way in, try to look for these kills. Nice nades on Gross and Marcelius. That could force them down a little bit, do some damage. Truth comes in here from the window position, manages to take out all the players, though. Makes it a 4K all in all, so they do keep Gross and Marcelius alive, all 5 alive for the T-side. Money really starting to build up now here as Fate needs to get some buys in and get some rounds on their board. They are running out of opportunities here on CT.
What is a little bit surprising too, Jay, is when we cast this Fate side, we talk about how hyper-aggressive they are on CT. We haven't really seen that. Yeah, we've seen a couple rounds where they've pressed the upper tunnels, but we haven't really seen them pressing up through short, trying to get aggressive up through top mid. It's been really passive for the most approach from Fate. And maybe a bit of a change-up, going back to that Bulgarian style of play, very aggressive, seeing if you can find some opening picks, taking map control away from the T side could be the opening back in, especially with Hahn being able to find that opening pick out through B.
And Cross down. And Fate into the city spawn area goes Mar, going to crossfire alongside Hahn, expecting more sort of mid to B control. APEKS went for that very quickly into the last round. Now, of course, knowing it was an anti-eco. AK is set, looking for their way in. They've got smokes at the ready, putting it down towards short and long for their respective teams. The bomb is outside of the tunnels area, though, so as the hit comes through towards A, a long rotation going to come back from Truth, unless they fake it and go towards B instead.
This looks to be a fake, right? Because this bomb is so far back out towards sort of the B bomb site through the tunnel. And Patrick, picky on the angle, he's seen the NWP, but the play around from CT of Mar gets away with a couple of kills, and there's still a defender at this B bomb site for them to deal with.
And Dennis gets the trade to a 3-on-2. 2 more CTs coming in from mid. M4 almost catches the man off guard, but Dennis gets the frag on Hahn. So the B defensive taken out. Orb still scoping in. Going to slow face against Nicky. The AK making its way up from window. The bomb plant is going to be secured. 2-on-2 retake. And Molotovs are continuing to come through here. M4 peeks in, seen, sprayed. And Nicky gets a trade back 1-on-1. Knows that Truth's back towards the back corner. But the duck down comes through. The spray is thrown off. 11 HP for Truth. He stays alive and keeps APEKS in with a half advantage.
Oh my goodness, that was absolutely nutty coming out from Truth. And I tell you what, Fate, they'll be absolutely kicking themselves. They had such an advantage in that round. They had a 3-on-2, they had a B anchor and a rotator coming out from CT, and Hahn can't find a single pick at B. Dennis is able to pick up that AWP, and Truth does so much work on the side. APEKS 8-4 up, nades coming out towards the longhouse, and just decimation on this T side.
Pistols did so much damage as well. It was just getting that kill shot in that was eluding them there towards the longhouse control. Cross, Marcelius, Akez, less than 30 HP for each of them. Single digits for one of them and 10 for the other. The scout could shut them down. The pistols there from Patrick and Hahn could shut them down. Got Hahn leaning over towards the B site, play the other two over on A. And Dennis will slow walk in. He's got high HP, so he can win out these fights without risking a rifle here, especially with the scout being so high, boosted up on these short boxes. Quick headshot comes in, going to make some noise, trying to set them on a short commitment, but with the utility coming back, they realize that actually the hit's coming through towards the B site. So bomb plant will be heard here. Hahn's going to call that in. I don't think him and Patrick can do much from their position, though. Might catch off Truth. Oh no, the taps from the CZ missing the head as Patrick falls quickly after the fact. It will be APEKS cleaning up the anti-eco.
Wow, there was so much damage done to like the majority of the team, but still no real kills coming through. And mate, this isn't even round 15, Jay, and we've also got auto snipers out. What's going on here?
Why not? I mean, they can afford them.
Yeah, they can.
Especially with the rifle basis right here. They know they dealt with an eco in the last round, so there's a likely chance they'll have just basics. M4's out here, so try and do the damage while you have it in most effective. Marcelius will be very effective towards Longhouse. The Molotov will burn him to 44, but he gets away with a frag on Nicky, opening up the round for the T side.
He sat in that molly for so long, and as soon as he's about to back off, that's when the shot comes through. Flash out towards long, Hahn can't find anything. And for Fate, how do you bring this round back? Just 3 players left. Now the information that there's 2 players towards short, they can start to rotate to B, but they want to continue their long play.
Truth up. Oh, he sees Blocker takes that headshot, takes another fight against Mar and wins it. And the way APEKS are just playing around positioning and crosshair placement, it's just too much for Fate to deal with. Patrick's got to grab that AK and run with it. There's no money for the next round, despite the loss bonus probably being close to max at this stage. This will be 10 to the board of APEKS. And not too dissimilar to how things went down last time they played this map. Again, to remind you of the Dust 2 that took place 2 months ago, it was 11-4 at the half for the T side of APEKS before they ended up taking the map 16-11 in the end after a semi comeback from Fate on their T side. So right now, we're on track for a similar result at the moment.
And you look at APEKS, they're just everywhere on the map. And for all of the rounds we've seen from them on T-side, they've either had a lurk or they're not bunching up together. And that's what I really love from this team. They're so spread, even on the executions. We see Truth there. All the presence is out from Long. They've got the bomb committed with another 2 players from Long trying to go into that A-bomb site. Then Truth is able to get a couple of kills out from Xbox. What a shot coming out from Marcelios. And this from Truth. Unbelievable. The fact that he gets both of these kills before getting traded. Massive, massive plays from the APEKS side. And it's getting scary, Jay. It's getting very scary. Even the buy going into round 15 is looking a little rough for the CTs.
Oh. That is loud. It's comforting for the 2 rifles making their way down mid, and they're covered off by the auto snipers, so there shouldn't be much of a chance for the CTs to push out and contest them. That being said, though, Dennis does overextend, and Nicky punishes him. A FAMAS finding the frag. I think the AK got taken away, however, so they can't get it back. Flashes over APEKS, leaving APEKS alone towards the short control. They've gone for a lot of short defaults, but this time they're leaning in towards the tunnels area, so they have this much here for the T side. Looking to commit as well. Nades and Molotovs on the position of Patrick. He still gets 2 kills, though. Truth and Gross to 4 in a 5-on-2 scenario gained by Fates.
And now a massive advantage being found from the Bulgarian side. How do APEKS try and bring this back? They've got APEKS already out from mid, trying to deal. Long spray coming through onto Blocker. We've already got a backstab out from Hahn through the longhouse, so we can start to backstab the T's from top mid. And hear the footsteps. Oh, they're coming straight to him.
Hahn ready to receive, seeing Marcelius takes him down. APEKS on 8 points of health. This is over. This will be a 5th for Fate, to at least recover something going into their T-side half. But still, APEKS looking so dominant throughout the majority of their T-side rounds. Therefore, they started things off on the right foot here against a team like Fate as well, who are also T-side proficient. They at least have a good basis to work with. Now, can they counter what they're going to bring to the table on the offensive half?
Yeah, you say about T-side proficient, but you look at their stats in the last month, they only win 42.9% of the rounds on the T-side. Like, their T-side is so much, I don't want to say worse, but they find more success on CT. There's not that many teams in Tier 2 Counter-Strike that have a bit more of a dominant CT side, especially on a map like on Dust 2, but that's what Fate is. Fate struggle on the T-side to find a lot of success, and that's probably where they lose the majority of their games, is that if they don't get a lead going into that T-side, if they don't get a lead that's built up enough, they could often struggle to get the victory out. The fact that they only put 5 rounds up on the CT side is going to be a very rough affair. And I tell you what, Jay, those odds look even more rough than what I'm thinking.
I mean, I can understand exactly why you go down this route if you loot bet. Right now, APEKS are in control. They were able to win this map off the back of this sort of stance and the last time they played it against Fate. So, you know, all the advantages going the way of this CT half now. As they go to the pistol round, Fate are going to come up good with some sort of round victory. Defuse on APEKS, all the utility on Nicky has already been used here. Backing up APEKS with a good headshot. Marcelius there to hold control. Dennis with the crossfire, else in the back line. APEKS dealt with Marinharder bringing this back. Good shots from the long and short crossfire. 2-on-2, but Gross has dropped the bomb. Truth going to rotate to position. If he gets a backstab into this short control, he might catch the player making his way up top mid right now. It's all a case of timing on the P250, the raid boss of the round, seeing his man desperately trying to take him down. He does get that headshot in the end. It's all left to Gruss. A minute to the clock. He knows exactly where that bomb is. He knows where at least one of the T-side players are as well.
Oh, this is all falling apart for APEKS. I don't know how Fate have been able to bring that back. APEKS were able to get a 5-on-2 and then just took some really unnecessary fights. But Fate need to be able to pick up that bomb, Jay, and that's got to be their main objective. And for Gruss, he doesn't know if they've picked it up or not. He's even thinking about maybe going over to B, checking it out, doesn't see anything out through mid. He has really no idea what's going on at this point.
Information outdated, therefore he is on his own, playing passive. And they go out. Gruss Set and ready, hearing those footsteps making their way around to the site. Taps up from the USP, seeing where Ma is tapping up, seeing Han going for the kill. He's shot, getting the information out, but unable to land those kills just yet. And Ma will take him down. 6 to the board of Fate, as they get a pistol to kick things off.
Wow, okay. I think APEKS made a huge blunder of that round. The fact that they had a 5-on-2 and Fate bring that back, I mean, hats off to the Fate side, absolutely. But it seemed like there were so many unnecessary duels that came out from that CT side, and Fate just capitalized on all of those advantages. What a massive round for them to win, and that's probably their chance back in, Jay. But they need to deal with the force buy, and they need to be able to continue this contention.
AK on 2 players for the Fate side, 2 MAC-10s, a scout for Han. The buy on Fate is looking better than the buy on APEKS. Deagle in, Nikki tagged to 38 points of health. Damage being done back towards Troop. He does come out with the kill, and Marcelius gets Mar as well. 2 for 1 to the favor of the CT side. Blocker trades it back on Grusto, so back to a 3-on-3 scenario. They're hearing those rifles get swapped about as well, so they've got info on at least 1 individual to lower tunnels.
I tell you what could get awkward though is Patrick's got this bomb and he needs to try and get up through Xbox to that short position to help out his teammates getting to the side, and that bomb's been seen. Look how low Patrick is now.
Smokes up, flashes over, APEKS catches Patrick, and now 1 AK just to the favor of the MAC-10. Still left towards short, damage has been done, and a Deagle's still here to try and control it. Nicky's on 11 HP. Smoke down to get the Xbox cover, and Marcelius finds his man. 1-on-2, AK picked up. They still know that that bomb is there on the Xbox position. Blocker with his AK going to have to clutch this against the 2 individuals that remain for APEKS. 30 seconds left. He peeks in from the mid doors, looking onto short, looking onto Marcelius, tapping his head off his shoulders. Scout set and ready, but Blocker gets his 3K and keeps the control here for Fate.
Oh my goodness, that was insane coming out from Blocker. APEKS did a really great job dropping that bomb a couple of times out from mid and forcing the 1-on-2 from Blocker. Even the read of where to put his crosshair at the right time, being able to deal with Marcelius, and the read on the player through lower tunnels, that is fantastic. That is absolute textbook to come out from Blocker. And even APEKS are going to take a bit of a tactical off of the back of that. And it seems like really Blocker's keeping them in the game. You know, 14 kills, very close to being the top fragger on the server. He's been able to find a mass amount of impact, both on the T side and the CT side.
Tactical pause for APEKS. They realize they've lost control of this one despite their efforts. I mean, again, remember, Fate were able to bring this back from the brink last time they played it. Got 6 rounds in a row on T before APEKS were able to take control. The force back comes through again from the CT camp, realizing that if they win this with the damage they did to Fate, they could still be able to, you know, force the economy to reset. Molotov's down to also make control. Presence established by Fate. A little bit passive from the other 2 players out here towards the top of mid and outside of the longhouse. Hoping for a CT to overextend. APEKS will not give them that joy.
And maybe a flash to come into that short position for Grass. Very, very close to hugging this wall. Getting very aggressive onto Nikki. Nade actually coming in. It's actually a fake flash with the HE, but Nikki still finds a frag. Does take a lot of damage, and now they'll know it's certainly a force buy coming out from the APEKS side. Fate, where do they go from here? A lot of mid-control being established. They've got to lurk out towards the longhouse, and now the CT side is starting to get a little bit antsy up through the upper tunnels.
Well, Fate gained the opening pick, and that's quite one to gain as well. M4 on their man, so losing that weapon is a crucial lost firepower advantage. Time is of the essence, though. Oh, APEKS lands it straight through the mid door, straight to the head of Nikki. 30 seconds left as well. They're going to clear out the mid control entirely. They have to focus fire back onto it for the B side defensive because that seems to be where they're going. Mid to B from the majority T side force. The Mach 10 in first lines him up, knocks down one. No vision on the UMP in the back line of Dennis though. Patrick is low. He's got to face away, look towards tunnels, look towards the side defensive. He's here on Platt and Hahn catches him. Marcelius through the smoke gets Blocker to return to a 3-on-2. Low HP for two individuals of Fate, but APEKS want nothing to do with this.
Yeah, look, the force buy made a lot of sense. The fact that, first of all, it was so close. Secondly, when it comes down to only one player surviving from that Fade side, you realize that their economy is going to be low. They're going to have hardly anything in the reserve. So if you do force again and find a victory, Fade are going to be in a really tough position in terms of the money that they have. Holding on to, obviously, two weapons. They have that AUG and that Scout to bring into the following round. We won't see a follow-up force. It will just be an eco, upgrade some pistols around it. Fate starting to draw their way back into this game. 4 rounds in a row now, Jay, if you include the 15th from that first half. Starting to close the deficit between the rounds.
Could have thought that shot there would have been the start of it, but not to be in the end. Fate allowed to continue building. The AUG of Truth, the Scout of Marcelius. Only 2 rifles in play for the CT camp with the AKs and UMPs still out here for Fate. They've got plenty of weaponry to work with. Compare that to Fate, to the APEKS side, and you must imagine that they're probably going to end up losing this round, go back to within 10-9, and then have the rifles in first. Have force bought a number of rounds here, so even the next round buy is going to have to be based off max force bonus for the most part.
Oh, hang on. How has this happened, Jay? We see 2 just dry wide swings coming out from Fate, and they're just instantly deleted with. And it's the 2 rifles that got saved in to find the kills. They could pick up AKs.
I stand corrected. There's a good chance here for APEKS. Marcelius in particular with the headshot going to grab that AK, pass it off to Dennis, and now they've got a couple of rifles to work with. Okay, this just got real dangerous. This just got real dangerous for the Fate side. 5-on-3. 2 AK-47s now on Dennis and Marcelius. Truth is the man to drop though. Hahn peeking in. Marcelius gets Mar towards the mid doors. Patrick hunting for that rifle. Marcelius gets out of dodge. He's found his 2K so far. 4-on-2 for APEKS. Fate held and suppressed towards this short control. Gross gets forced off angle. He's got back up in Dennis. Flashes over the AK, waits and baits and looks for his man. Sprays through, takes him down. Locks onto the second. Can't quite get the frag, but he does come up with it in the end. And what a return from APEKS. What a massive round to win.
That's huge. That is unbelievable. And for Fate, I don't know what happened out there from Long. They just decided to wide swing. There was no utility. There was no support of a pit player. And instantly, the AUG and the Scout were able to find a couple of opening picks. We saw the AKs being picked up. Dennis shuts it down on the site itself. And that wasn't even a force buy. That was a couple of saved-in weapons with a few upgrades. An eco, really. And even for Fate, look at what they're bringing to the table in this buy. You've got a pistol out for Mar, a pistol out for Nikki, a Galil for Blocker, an AKs for Patrick and Hahn, and double orbs on the CT side.
It's not looking good. Smokes down, here come the T-side forces. AK for Gross trying to look for someone at the gap in the smoke right here. Mar is going to be allowed to cross that flashbang timing well. He did see Nikki though, looking towards the top smoke for them to make the way out for the window area. Patrick with the bomb dropped immediately, and Truth for Marcelius locking out the frag. So no real worries here for the CT camp. Not a lick of damage done to them. Arnold try, doesn't get a dink off on Truth, but the kills come in for the Orbs. 2 more found for either player, and that's 12 to the board of APEKS. A shutdown against Fate. No money for the T side to work with as well.
And I tell you what, that round right there, I know it's early, but I'm calling it already that Fate are done. You know, that round was so vital because you look at the position they're in now. They can't invest anything going into round 21. You'll be giving a 13th up to APEKS. And looking at the fact they've got 3 AKs on the CT side, they've got double orbs, and you've just got Glocks, you're not going to be able to do any economical damage to that CT side. They're going to be able to continue farming up their money line. And APEKS are just getting closer away to finding their 16th. But aggression up for Dennis, that was a bit uncharacteristic.
Patrick will punish him for it. Assistance from his teammates on the pistols, and AK now sitting in the hands of Blocker. Don't let that be the way you concede the momentum back to Fate. APEKS, big risky play, and that might work against them. Fate do stop their way on towards the short control. They don't go any further than this, and the smokes and utility will come down to do them damage and try and keep them suppressed, which for the most part is successful, but more down to passiveness from Fate rather than anything that APEKS are doing.
Baited out heaps of util too. There's hardly anything left on this city side. A few flashbangs and a single smoke onto Truth. This AWP towards ramp cannot get overwhelmed. Needs to make sure that he's hitting the shots. Fate, though, looking like they're going to set themselves up for a short take. There is a potential to come out for a mid to B, but with a lack of utility, just fountain out. Just try and group all together through A.
Good smoke there, timing it relatively well. Going to keep them suppressed for the most part here. Gap to work with though, so it won't do much on the grand scale of things. Flashes over Patrick, drops down here. Got support in masses. Got the AK of Akis to keep Truth alive. The AWP focuses in, does tag damage towards Mar. Nicky can take him down, but Blocker falls next. 3 on 2, Truth makes it 1, and does get tapped up by the P250, so damage has been done to this CT line. Gruss makes his way in though, denies the bomb plant, denies the money bonus, but still 3 casualties. A pretty good eco round coming in from the CT side.
I would even say that that's fantastic. That's unbelievable. Yeah, they don't get a bomb plant, but they take 3 kills. That is a huge round to come out from the Fate side, and that could have got even more scary, especially if that bomb plant would have gone through. A 13-8 up now for the APEKS side, a 5-round lead for them. And for Fate, they've just got to find a response in. They've got to find a way to be able to deal with these double AWPs, Jay, because they've found a world of impact in this second half.
A block, another aggressive, risky peek in, gets them fragged for it though. Burning in the Molotovs, 13 points of health. I'm able to get a second kill and everything. 3 for 3 now. Nades on against Marcellius, and he does go down, but you're right, they committed the bomb very far forward, and they do have control for APEKS, but there's only one player here on the B-side defense. Dennis still trying to deal with Blocker, who's done a ton of damage, got the majority of the casualties. Meanwhile, Nicky's walked in towards the A side, but without the bomb control, it's completely useless.
This is such a weird round because now you've got Dennis in the back lines. They've cleared out A, but the T's have not been able to recover this bomb. Akez needs to try and stay alive for as long as possible. He's got a bit of utility, a flashbang and incendiary. That's going to buy him some more time. Allow the wraparound from Dennis to try and assist the best that he can.
They're going to fight. Akez loses it. Nicky now spotting the last man towards the mid-control. Dennis will take him out, grab that AK, but now a 1 versus 2 in the post-plant. Flashes will try and blind him off, keep him suppressed. Molotov on towards the doors area. Sees Blocker, takes him down. 1-on-1. He'll hear the bomb plant coming through. He now knows that he's got to be somewhere on site, but where specifically? And will he make his way in from window or doors? Those are the questions that Han are asking. 2K for either player, 3K for the winner of this 1v1. Dennis taking contact, looking in towards the back lines, and Han held back behind Big Box, checking out his positions. No information. Dennis going to make some noise, drop in, see his man. Can't quite take the tag on the shot. Needs that headshot as well. HP advantage for Han, and he makes it work for him. Big win for Han, the big win for the Fate side.
Yeah, that's a really big round coming out from Fate, and I tell you what, it was very awkward. You kind of get rounds like that sometimes when the bomb gets dropped and you've got map control, but you can't really work with it. They cleared out A, they cleared out mid, but they needed to recover that bomb. APEKS, unfortunately for Dennis, he gets caught as soon as he wraps around, as soon as he aggresses out from Longhouse, he gets caught from Blocker and from lower tunnels, so from there, that element of surprise is gone. In saying that, though, considering it went down into a 1-on-1, the economy is still very low for the Fate side, and APEKS have been able to force the double ops once again. It means that Gruss is only going to be on a pistol. Okay. I'm just thinking about, like, the money line for Fate, whether they just want to try and go for some Galils. Maybe even a scout onto Han. That really hurt them, even with a round victory.
Well, Fate having this tactical pause at this stage, still being on the back foot. Again, despite the win they took in that last round. Don't want to think about their stance here against APEKS, knowing that they could also get reset. I mean, right now, either economy is up to get just shut down entirely and completely broken by the victors of this next round, assuming all 5 players fall. And for Fate especially, that's disastrous because they can't fall back on saving their weapons, and APEKS are in the lead. If they win this next one, we're looking at least one more eco, and that will probably lead to map point.
Retake setup coming out for APEKS too. They're looking to start to aggress up through mid. Now, they're going to get a lot of information. Fate need to be sure that they're at least getting some eyes on this backstab, and that's what Mars looking at, but not quite from the short position.
Flashbang into the mid control, and now they're going to have to readjust themselves for it. And Mar held back, looking for the suicide entrance. Nikki waiting for the main exit. Oh, Patrick has no idea this AWP is there. Drops the bomb. That's info gain. And so long as he holds this angle, he'll stall for crucial time for the CT side. Might even get offered up a second pick by Blocker. Utility got to come in. They're going to make their way up to support. AWP's watching of Dennis as well. Crossfire lock. They're going to hear that as well on the T side. It's all down to timing. Who's going to break first? Who's going to find their way in? Or will the backstab from Mar work wonders for them in their own right?
Oh, Mar hasn't seen anything either, so he might say that mid's clear. He didn't see absolutely anything, but there's still 3 players here, and now the fighting comes through. Now all the information's come out. That bomb's been dropped again from another AWP. This time it's Dennis looking for more, and Fate, this is so damn awkward. They just need to go quickly into A, at least get their way into the site.
3v3, damage done to Nikki and Dennis. Smokes down, the players make their way up to position. Truth with the M4 ready and waiting, takes out one. Got Nikki to drop, bomb goes down, and Hahn left in the back line, trying to back up his man. And he's out of the round, 10 seconds out of this, 14 for APEKS, and that really is worst case scenario for Fate.
Yeah. It really is, right? You know, you mentioned, Jay, the fact that both teams can reset each other. APEKS kept 3 players alive, and Fate had to hold on to an AWP after time. Wow, that was something we haven't seen from either team. That was a very unique round, very aggressive from Marcelios. Patrick's just got no idea, and as soon as that bomb's dropped, and Mar peeks out from mid and doesn't see anything, he even relays more information to say, hang on a minute, they might have backed off, because I don't see anything. But there's still 3 players there, and then Dennis cross-firing with the second AWP. It was just perfect. It was absolutely perfect. APEKS try, or I should say Fate try and go quickly into A, but APEKS already there on the rotations. And there's even a force spy coming out from Fate. They don't want to play for OT. (14-9).
And as you mentioned, they don't want to play for overtime. Upset, ready for contact down towards that mid control, but seeing the players pass, no damage done again for the AWP. Harden's been getting so unlucky with his AWP shots. It's just the Eagles and a Mac 10 to support the big green gun. Like, there's no way the Face should win this by all accounts. Like, I've seen some great Deagle rounds, but like, this should be an APEKS victory right here for a 15-9 at least.
On paper, it certainly should be, but it really just comes down to whether the individuals could just hit some crazy shots from Fate. Truth, hearing a few of these footsteps out from mid, and he might get baited into a bit of a peek. Look how many players are there. Oh, and even able to line up 2 with the spray. Oh, could it be a third? He's now seen that bomb. Truth has done so much work out through mid.
Oh, but Nikki and Patrick are chiming back. 3-on-3 scenario. Flashes over. Molotov's in. Short control established. Long control drawing attention away. Gruss is going to try focus fire. Got the mid control players coming in to wrap around against him. He's going to draw their attention. And the bomb plant can come in completely uncontested. Blocker will go down. And now they've got 2 orbs for the setup here.
A couple of kits on this CT side, a smoke and a flashbang, but they used so much map control to try and take that last player down that they need to start to make a bit of a move out towards long, taking one down, and it's all down to Nikki, and he's not going to be able to make it work. The force by not being a success. They're going to get on the bomb. Yes, okay, someone's going to get on the bomb in the end there, so 15th round. They've got plenty of time. Recovering that secondary AWP, of course, very important. Chucking that kit over, or at least shooting that kit over to APEKS. 15 on the board for APEKS. Now, that bomb plan's going to help them, Jay, with a buy, but, you know, we said they didn't want to play for OT, so forcing in that last round means that it's going to be another force again.
That transfer on the spray was incredible from Truth. One final tactical. And unless Fate can secure this round, it will be their last shout into this matchup. 15-9, APEKS have done quite the job here to try and bring us back on CT. Even though it looked like they lost control and momentum off the back of the pistol in the early half, they have managed to recover this scenario, you know?
Yeah, look, it's been a tough one for Fate. There's no doubt about it. But I stand by my point that they didn't give themselves enough breathing room in that first half. Like, their T-sides look decent. I think they've certainly struggled in terms of the economy, but that's just because they've been so many rounds down that they keep trying to force to get back. If they just got more rounds in that first half, it would have really helped them going forward into their T-side. APEKS, complete long control already being found. No aggression to come out from Fate. Oh, even the nade does a big chunk of damage onto Mar.
Gross set with the M4. Up and out. Smoke sees two. Takes out only one before the trade comes back from Patrick. At least the rifles hold their contest. The AWP sees two coming out. Doesn't land his flick. So actually Fate maintain control as Blocker doubles up. And it looks like they'll overwhelm for at least a survival round here. Bomb plant will be secured. And I don't think APEKS and Marcelius can go for this here. I mean, I say that Marcelius with the AWP peeks in, picks up one. Sees the next man as well, trying to go for the wall bangs. He's getting real close towards Patrick, but just can't land that kill shot despite his best efforts. APEKS instead will find him over towards the Gandalf area. So backing up and covering for a cross position. 2-on-2 now. Retake is on for the APEKS side. Smoke down on the bomb itself. They've got to get Blocker up close. Marcelius at close quarters combat can just hit the defuse. That's going to be enough. The scout can't do it. It's over. 16-9. APEKS will beat Fate in the best of one. Move forward to our winners best of three.
Wow, that I can't believe